Richard Hamilton. I'm a journalist for the BBC. I'm also a writer. I've written 2 books about Morocco. The first was called The Last Storytellers, Tales from the Heart of Morocco. And the second one that I'm introducing tonight is called Tangier, From the Romans to the Rolling Stones. And it's a cultural history of the city as seen through artists, writers and musicians over the centuries. I was living in Rabat as a journalist for the BBC. I was a correspondent for the BBC in 2006 and 2007. And at the time, Tangier was bidding to host the Expo, the International Cultural Exhibition. So I did a report about Tangier's cultural background and its hopes and ambitions. And the city in the end did not win the award to host the Expo, but I got a flavour of how sort of dynamic it was. And I think Tangier is just a different city. It's, as you say, a lot of people, British people, come to Marrakesh because it has a sort of obvious charm with the weather and the ancient buildings and the medieval feel. But Tangier is a bit more nuanced, a bit different. And I think it's because of this international history, and also because it's at the edge of the continent. So it's sort of on a crossroads between Europe and Africa, and it's just somewhere different. And of course it has this amazing literary history, you know, that for example, two of the most famous American novels of the 20th century were both written here. And by that I mean The Naked Lunch by William Burroughs and The Sheltering Sky by Paul Bowles. So it's an amazing achievement for not a very big city to produce such amazing literature. So I think that's what first inspired me, was to find out about what drew all these writers here. My book starts with Hercules and the cave of Hercules outside Tangier. And that's where, you know, the myth of Hercules is that he rested in the cave before his 11th labor. So I think the city is steeped in myths and mythology, as well as, of course, being this amazing international experiment from the 1920s until the 1950s. Tangier was this international zone that was administered by about 8 or 9 European countries, which is unique in the world, and I think that's what drew all these people here. So, and also the fact that you can never quite predict what's going to happen in Tangier. It's the unexpected, which I think is very appealing. Even now, things happen that I'm not sure, you know, even when I try to plan things, then in Morocco and in Tangier in particularly, they don't always work out as I had predicted. I agree, I think that's very well put, and there is an energy and a quality to Tangier that's unique. And I think for artists, one of the things is that they came to Tangier because it's on the point between 2 seas, between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean. And the quality of the light is very clear and very sharp, and it brings out the colors. So people like Henri Matisse and Delacroix, they came here because the light was particularly attractive to painters. But I think that the same energy and the light and the uniqueness and the geography, you know, and it being on the edge of Africa and the edge of Europe, the edge of the Arab world, it brings a certain, it's like a frontier town. It has a certain energy of its own, a uniqueness. You know, it's on some sort of, you could almost think that there's some fault line or some mythic point in the world. It's just very difficult to find anywhere else like it. I researched my book about 6 or 7 years ago, and even in that time I've noticed a tremendous change in this. There's new cultural spaces open up, new Moroccan artists, new Moroccan designers. There's money and investment coming into the city. But it's not just about Tangier Med Port or the Hilton or the McDonald's. There seems to be a real energy and inspiration for young Moroccans to come here and set up art galleries like this space where we are now, or the bookshops. There seems to be a cultural explosion or a revival, which I'm very positive about, and I'm really impressed because Tangier it always had this literary history, but it used to be a little bit run down and neglected and a bit shabby, a bit dirty. Yeah, so I feel positive and optimistic about the future, and I admire all the young Moroccans that are coming here. It's like, as you say, it's like a magnet for creative people, and I feel the future is in good hands.